Welcome to How to Paint a Watercolor Snowman card. This is a great Christmas project. I love painting watercolor snowmen because they're fun, they're easy, and they're imperfect. In real life, they're imperfect. So your watercolor snowman actually should be imperfect. So the first wash that we're putting down here is a mixture of the blue and then a blue plus magenta for kind of a purpley part. And we put the blue on one side and the purpley blue on the other side, and then we kind of mix it up a little bit. And you do it in dabs and splotches, keeping it darker around the edges so that you give your snowman some dimension. So you're trying to create not a circle but a ball. Putting the snow in while everything's still nice and wet so they kind of blend together. Again, it's the blue and it's the blue plus the magenta. And these two colors kind of play off of each other and give it some interest and kind of portray the light reflecting off of the one side and the shadow on the other side. You just build it up, and where you have those lines, you go back with some clean water and kind of soften them right along the edges so that you don't have stripes. I mean, it is darker where the snowball meets the snowball and the snowman meets the ground, so you really do want some definition there. But okay, here we are putting in the trunk of the pine tree. This is burnt sienna with a little bit of the blue. I just put in a few hints of the pine tree the trunk, so that we kind of have a blueprint. We're starting with a yellowish green, and we're working our way to a more green, and eventually a more blue-green that gets darker as you go down, and it gets a little bluer. Underneath the branches, it's darker than on top, as the sun hits the top, but the underside is in shadow. So you want to paint it that way, with the tops being a little lighter, generally speaking, than the bottom. Right here, I'm trying to put in some snow, and it's just a real light, very watery blue wash. Try not to hit the green branches when you're doing this. Right there, I hit the green branch. That's okay. So you just go and put in the snow. It looks a little odd now, but it'll look okay when we're done. Adding a little more shadow. A little more branch. Yeah. If you drip, just hit it with a paper towel as soon as you see it. I'm sort of marking off where I want the eyes to go. It's also going to create a little bit of shadow around the charcoal when I put it in. It kind of gives me a blueprint of where to put everything. Okay, so I have to let that dry actually before I put the charcoal in. Here's the hat, which is black, but it's not black watercolor paint. It's a mixture of the blue and the burnt sienna. Blue and burnt sienna makes beautiful, beautiful blacks, browns, very realistic branches. what I'm doing with my hand there is checking how wet the paper is. If it's too wet, those pieces of charcoal would just bleed out into the snowman. It would look terrible. So when I hit it with the back of my hand, I'm trying to feel if it's damp or wet. Okay, that orange nose is a mixture of magenta and yellow, and it's a nice bright nose. I like to keep my snowman noses bright orange. There we go with the magenta scarf. I just love the way a red scarf shows up on a snowman. It's just great color combo. We're going to take that magenta, we're going to put some Christmas bulbs on our tree. Not that outdoor trees have Christmas bulbs usually, but boy, it sure looks good with that magenta snowman scarf to have a few magenta Christmas bulbs on the tree. The colors just play back and forth. And there's the arms. Again, a mixture of the burnt sienna and the blue. You could just kind of freeform those arms because branches don't have a specific way that they must look. Gonna balance out the composition with a little shrub. Shrubs too are pretty freeform. There's no special way they need to look. They're never symmetrical. And a few little tiny leaves, just so it reads shrub. This is done on a Strathmere watercolor card. I really love painting on these watercolor cards. They're just fun. And if you get them, make sure you get the watercolor cards, not the mixed media or anything else. Right there, I'm hitting it with a thing called a magic eraser, which is picking up the last little bits of color. There you go. Subscribe for more videos. Thanks, guys.